go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Anything, brought to you by Moser Consulting. I'm your host, Angel Leon, Moser's Director of Personnel. We're glad that you're with us for this episode of Ask Anything because today we're going to be discussing the role of thought leadership in business and why it matters. In 2009, a relatively unknown speaker took the stage at a TEDx event in Puget Sound. His idea? That people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That speaker was Simon Sinek. And within a few short years, his Start With Why framework became a North Star for leaders across industries. Not because he shouted the loudest, but because he offered something timeless in a way people hadn't heard before. Thought leadership isn't about being a know it all, it's about seeing things differently and helping others see them too. As Sinek puts it, leadership is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in your charge. In this episode, we're unpacking the true role of thought leadership in business, why it matters, how it creates trust and momentum, and why the best organizations don't just sell, they lead. Joining me to talk about this topic is Moser's very own Director of Sales and Marketing, podcast mom, Malinda Lowder. Malinda, welcome back to Ask Anything. How are you?
Thank you. It is great to be back here with you guys. I'm doing well.
It's always good to have you back. You always bring such great deep thought topics, and this is certainly one of my favorites. So let's start with what the definition is of thought leadership, because a lot of people have different ways of thinking about thought leadership or just putting it out in their own terms. So what would you say would be the good definition of thought leadership?
Sure. For our purposes today, for what it means to me almost, or how I use it. The technical definition is basically sharing original perspectives, insights, ideas, things that you think about your field of study, but using those ideas to establish yourself as a trusted advisor or a top person in your field, right? That's what it is. It's taking ideas, perspectives about what you do or the field you're in, and using that to make yourself trusted in your field. But one of the things that's important to talk about, not what it is, it's what it's not.
Right.
So you tapped on this a little bit in your intro there. It is not about trying to be the top dog, trying to be the only trusted expert in your field. It's not even about promoting yourself. Like in the end, you end up promoting yourself. But it can't start that way, or else it doesn't work. The circle doesn't complete as being genuine and honest to your audience. So it's not about selling yourself, your company. It's not about getting work for yourself, right? It's not self promotion, but it is about value driven content for your audience, right? It leads to everything else. It affects those things. It affects your bottom line at the company you work for. It affects your personal brand and where you work and what you do. I'm sure when Simon Sinek went on that thing, he didn't think, I'm going to become the world leader of talking about why things happen in companies and why we buy certain brands. He just had an idea. And that idea was gaining momentum and people were responding to it. And that's what people respond to. I'm sure he wanted to put that idea out there or he wouldn't have done it, but it didn't start with wanting to be famous, right?
Right. And there's nothing more off-putting than someone that's like, I know a lot. I'm an expert. You should listen to me. You should do this thing. You should take my. You have to establish credibility. You have to let people make their own decisions, form their own opinion. And you do that by consistently demonstrating expertise and consistently offering a unique or more informed perspective. And as you build that reputation, as you build your own brand, then more people flock to you, and then you can become someone who is well known. But if that's the goal from the outset, and you don't have anything to back it up, it's not going to happen. There are plenty of people who know a lot and put stuff out there and still never become known. It's just a matter of there's a little bit of luck to it even.
Yeah, there is. And it is about, like you said, being genuine and why you want to just share the stuff that you want to contribute to your industry. to your atmosphere around you, to your community and your neighborhood, or to the corporate community where you live. It's a little bit about being genuine in that. There's an old joke in marketing. The best thing to be is genuine. Once you can fake that, you've got it made. But, that's a joke because it is hard to be genuine. It's hard to find somebody who is just genuine about it. And most of the time, those types of leaders or thought leaders are the ones who are like, I don't want to do this, right? I have a good idea, but I don't want to put it out there, and, encouraging those people to go ahead and do it, because those are the ones that work. Those are the most genuine thought leaders that get produced. So, but that's all philosophy about what thought leadership is, right? And all of that. But if you look at, I wanted to take it like real and be like, what is it real? Like, what does it look like? What does a thought leader do that's thought leadery, right? And I mean, some of this is pretty obvious, but just to put it out there, like, it could be writing a blog, it could be doing a podcast like this. You don't have to start a podcast, you could be on a podcast. We have guests, speakers all the time on ASCII from our company, from other companies that just want to talk about their industry, their expert area, things like that. It could be either creating a website or adding to a website, doing an infographic about a workflow or about something in your industry. At a higher level, it could be doing a TED Talk or a speaking at a conference, even if it's just a small regional conference, talking about something that matters to that audience and your opinion of that topic. Anything that highlights an original concept and gets that into the world, that's really the meat and potatoes of being it, beyond philosophically. Angel, you named one of my favorite thought leaders when you started this entire thing. And I love Simon Sinek and what he does in researching this, or just in your life. Do you have any other thought leaders you've listened to?
Besides Simon Sinek, he's also one of my favorites, but also in the organizational psychology world, I listen to Adam Grant. He's a organizational psychologist. He's very popular, very active on LinkedIn. He speaks on work-life balance, motivation, and really rethinking the traditional leadership models that we have in today's business world, or just in general. And I thoroughly enjoy reading his posts and watching his videos, just because of all the little insights, like what Brian was saying. Like, I feel like he's very genuine in the way he comes across, and he demonstrates knowledge beyond what's out there. And he takes a look at things outside the box, sort of like how Simon Sinek does as well. So he's one of probably my most influential people, given my background in psychology.
Sure. I love that, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily think of people like that I've never heard of that person, right? But in the areas that you study, that's a very important influencer, right? A very important thought leader. I think most people think of like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, right? Go a little deeper though, there's a lot more, in IT, because I work for an IT consulting company. There's Jeff Barr. He's been instrumental at Amazon in evangelizing cloud adoption. Cloud adoption wasn't great at first. People didn't understand the cloud. They didn't understand, well, where's my data? So he was big on that and explaining that to people. And Bernard Marr, who I've gotten into a little bit recently, who's kind of a technology futurist. He has interviewed some astronauts and asked them about what he thinks about AI and the future of technology in general. And, those people don't work on computers every day, but they had very interesting insights about it. So, some of those people, like the person you mentioned, not maybe quite as in your face as that, as, a billionaire, but you don't have to be a billionaire to do this. Right? You don't have to have that type of audience and influence in order to make an impact, right? The thing that these people all have in common at any level is that they look at their industry or their topic area, something they're interested in, and they go above it, right? They look at a 50,000 foot view and try to understand it and get insights that they share. You wouldn't go up to Bill Gates and ask him to do a workshop about how to update your Outlook email or how to do your email signature. He's not at that level, right? He's seeing something higher. He's seeing a future or just some insight about something. I just think that it's important to note that. And if you want to do that, or if you want to get the benefits that come from thought leadership, you have to start thinking of it in that way.
Right. Yeah. So let's dive a little bit deeper into thought leadership in the tech world. You mentioned some people who have been by far very influential in the tech world today. I mean, Steve Jobs, you mentioned Bill Gates, among others. So what can you tell us about thought leadership in the tech world?
I definitely encourage, like I said, I work at Moser, technology consulting firm. I encourage as many of our people as possible to contribute to the tech community, to our communities in general, to Moser's, thought leadership content. I've always found value in that. But when I was thinking about this podcast, I was like, okay, I always find value in it, and I have always understood that we need to do that. But I really didn't want to just rely on what Malinda says, because that's not always the best thing. I decided to go do a little research.
That could be the name of our podcast, Malinda Says.
Malinda Says. Isn't that what ASCII is? No, it's not. So I did find some studies, and it kind of reinforced, it was so cool because it reinforced a lot of what I thought, and it kind of reinforced what I'm doing. One of these is an Edelman LinkedIn impact report. And then one of the main ones is a SurveyMonkey thought leadership report. You can Google and find both of those. The data in those is really cool. There's a few other reports that this information is also pulled from, but those were the two that I really thought were very good. So I'm going to throw a bunch of data in here, and then we're going to kind of break it down into why this works and what it means to the tech industry. 60% of decision makers were willing to pay a premium to work with companies who demonstrate thought leadership. This is important to decision makers, to executives. 75% of executives have explored products or services they weren't considering after engaging with a thought leadership piece of content. It made them think differently or made them go in a new direction. 53% of buyers said thought leadership content has directly influenced their purchasing decision. 78% agree that intelligent thought leadership increases trust and makes them likely to engage with a company. I mean, 78%, that's a lot. And this is, high level executives across industries. But it's more than just buying and business to business purchasing decisions. Job candidates. I mean, on how you deal with this all the time. 3 of 4 job candidates prefer companies with visible leadership teams that share their expertise online. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard that feedback.
I have, honestly. It's been something that on a personal level, I've had a few candidates that have joined Moser that have said, hey, I actually followed you on LinkedIn and I saw some of your stuff, or I saw someone else's stuff on LinkedIn and I saw you commenting. And it is something that works. I'm not just saying it because it's happened to me, but it's something that if you're active on a platform like LinkedIn and you've got the bandwidth and the audience, it might actually bring in good quality candidates, people who prefer companies like Moser because they see the work that we're doing and some of the postings that we do that have to do with our company. So yeah.
Sure. And I came from marketing. So this next one, 71% of marketers cited increased web traffic as the top benefit of thought leadership, like getting more people to your website, getting more of those ROIs. That leads to just better relationships with clients and new clients. But there was a dark side to the statistics too. There's a high percentage, 73% of the people in some of these surveys warned that poor quality thought leadership actually has the opposite effect. It makes them not want to work with a company. It makes them leery of that company or that person. So that's just kind of a cautionary tale there as well. What does it do? That's a bunch of statistics, but kind of just thinking through really what does doing your own blog, being on a podcast, these types of things, sharing on LinkedIn, what does that do? So basically, it can lead to a lot of results, right? It can build credibility and authority for you as a person, for the company you work for or you run. Sharing industry insights tends to attract people in that industry. It tends to, if you're offering them something, some sort of insight, it positions you as an expert, but just gives you more connections too. Your current clients or potential clients are more likely to trust you because you demonstrate deep knowledge in your field, because you are willing to put yourself out there. That means a lot to people. it can differentiate you in a really competitive marketplace. Like if you're doing this and your competitors aren't necessarily doing this, it could be a standout point for you. It's,
Yeah.
any unique original concept helps you stand out from your competitors. And one of the things that data actually found is that a lot of your competitors are doing this. So you may be the one that's standing out as not doing it, and that's a bad place to be in as well.
Hmm.
Also, it just drives marketing, right? It drives marketing acquisition for your company or yourself. You don't have to do thought leadership content to help drive marketing or drive sales for your company. But, speaking from my perspective, that's why I do it. That's why I encourage people to do it. And it really does work for that. So, high value content attracts clients. It keeps you top of mind. It's another way to connect with them when you're not asking them for something. I hate it when my vendors come to me only when they're asking me for something. I much prefer it when they come to me and say, hey, here's this training. Hey, here's this idea. Have you tried this? And offering me things that make my life better or that improve my bottom line or make my job easier, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I actually want to go back to a couple of things you said, specifically the 73% that warn about poor quality thought leadership.
Scary.
We've seen, I feel like that's such a high number. I can certainly see how it makes a difference, because obviously if you've got people like we were speaking at the beginning that are not necessarily the best spokespersons for the company, putting content out there, and just it could just harm a relationship and harm those marketing's efforts and that company's reputation. So I find that number very high.
Yeah, and I mean that could have a lot of meanings, right? What is
Yeah.
poor quality? Does it mean poorly designed?
Poorly presented. It's relaying information that might not be entirely accurate, promoting
Yeah.
hearsay and rumor over fact and reporting of things that actually happened. I mean, there's any number of ways to set your entire business world on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to do your research. I think you have to be careful how you word things. I think if you're writing anything with anger or a lot of sharp emotions, you need to pull back from it because that's not a healthy place. Again, we talked about being genuine. That's not a healthy place to be or be genuine or to send out information from. You should be sending out information when you feel confident, it's been researched, when you feel at peace with it. You should be thinking about being the devil's advocate on the backside of some of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And definitely in all of these things, I'm definitely talking about content inside of your industry, inside of your definitely technology. I am not talking about social issues or anything like that. All of those things, I would take a lot of time with something before you send it out, especially if you get that tinge in the back of your mind that this might not be perceived well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other point that you mentioned was how it can make you stand out in a competitive market. I look at us and this space that we've created with ASCII Anything, and I feel like we've created something unique, maybe not unique to our space, but unique to us here in Indiana where we are, unique to the things that we do as a company at Moser Consulting, in that we not only obviously talk about technology, because we always do, but we have topics like this one. We have topics where we've had in the past on other subjects that are outside of the tech world, but that still relate to the tech world, because this is a topic that really relates across the board to any industry. But in the tech world, it obviously relates. We mentioned a lot of people who have influenced a lot of the ways that our tech leaders locally and nationally behave and do business. So I feel like from our standpoint, we are sort of the ones creating this unique content and making sure that we stand out in a competitive marketplace.
Yeah, I agree. It's nice, and I'm glad that that's what this has become. Like, I love that we're just starting conversations, and speaking of ASCII, I mean, this started very genuinely. We just wanted to make a place like this, like we ended up making, that we could invite people to come and talk about something that matters to them.
Yeah, you know a lot about a topic. We would like to know more about it. Please come talk to us about it. Going into 5 seasons, closing in on at some point 200 episodes here, probably in this next season, we'll cross or come very close to our 200th episode. We've covered a lot of topics. We've talked to a lot of people, and it's been really enjoyable. And I think like we've got some momentum. We've got people that have enjoyed talking to us who would like to come back. And as long as none of us goes to see Coldplay, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people there's a lot of people who are afraid to come on and do like an episode of ASCII. And I know I talked in our sales leadership team that I'm in, they encouraged all of those people to do, thought leadership materials. And they were all like, I don't know if I could be on a podcast. I just don't know what to do. I don't know if, much less start one. And I'm like, oh, you just get started. Come on, ASCII. Like, come on here and talk about something. I swear, once you do it, it is not as hard as it is in your mind. It is not as difficult or scary. It's so easy. You don't realize how easy it is just having a conversation.
Yeah, especially when you know about something. We're more than happy to ask questions because we don't know as much as you do. And then it's just a conversation. You're talking about something you know a lot about.
Yeah.
We don't know a lot about it. We will keep asking questions until you tell us to please stop.
Yes, it's in the name of the podcast. So it's right there.
It was very
yeah. Yeah. All right.
Aptly
So
named, yes.
So you mentioned something here in the end about your sales group and about them reading up on or working on thought leadership material. So how could someone position themselves as a thought leader?
So I do have some ideas, and some ideas are a little bit different than other people might tell you. But like we've talked about, first of all, it's just about original ideas, putting an original idea out there, right? One of the things I did last year was I went to this health and wellness conference, and it was down at a hotel in Tennessee and Nashville. And a lot of times when my peers go to these conferences, I've seen a lot of my peers put up LinkedIn posts about going to conferences. They'll say, oh, I'm headed to the healthcare summit, see everybody there, tag this, hashtag that, and put it up there. So on my way down there, I was thinking, how am I going to do this differently? How am I going to put an original idea about this? So when I got to the hotel, this hotel was full of art, visual art, interactive art. It's incredible. So I had the idea that I'm going to put up a series of LinkedIn posts about how art helps people heal, right? And how art helps with wellness in some people, right? So I put up my first post about it's very appropriate that the healthcare summit is happening at this hotel in Nashville because there's all this art at the hotel, and art I feel like is a big part of wellness. It like brought in the concepts of the conference, but in an original way that means something to me because, I'm an artist, I draw, I paint, I do all those things. So it means something to me, but I related to the conference and tied it all together and still put in the hashtags and everything. And it got so much more response. And the things I posted were a lot of videos because a lot of the art was, it was either fountains or there was a clock that draws its own hands every minute. So it was videos, and that helps a lot too, of course. But it was taking something and spending a few minutes on it and turning it into something that I'm actually contributing something to the conference. I'm not just saying I'm going to be there. That's like what I mean by putting original ideas into the ether, the zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it. And that can be hard. That can be difficult. It takes a lot for me to do that, and sometimes I go for a while without posting on LinkedIn because I can't think of anything meaningful to do other than just hey, this is what I'm doing today or something like that. But I just encourage you to spend some time sitting and thinking about it, especially if you're about to do something like go to a conference or go start on a special project. Think about what that means to you and your career. And anytime you get a promotion or something like that, like I would encourage you, instead of just doing, I got a promotion and doing the standard thing, like thinking about what that means to you and what that means to your career and what your career has meant so far. I think this was from a long time ago, but I got this promotion and I found every business card since I was an intern when I was 22. And I found every business card to every place I've worked and up to the new promotion and, took a picture of that. And I'm like, that means more than going, I got a promotion.
Mhm.
Congratulate me. You know what I mean? It's taking it and just putting some thought into it and going a little further, making it original. Other than that, and that's like, other than that, incredibly difficult thing that you have to sit and think about and put effort into. I think that part of it is consistency. Like I said, sometimes I go a little while without posting original content on LinkedIn or something like that. And I know for ASCII, I generally only do like 2 episodes a year. That doesn't seem like a lot. I mean, I feel like I could do more, but it is a lot of work to put these together. So I make sure that I do 2 a year and keeping consistent on it. And even if you're not posting new content, go onto some of these professional platforms and interact with other people, post on their, recopy their post and credit them or comment on their post. Do something to keep yourself connected to your industry. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. I know on how you're the king of that. You do that very, very well.
I try.
And it takes a lot of effort. I mean, it takes time, set a little time aside each week. And I promise you it'll add up just a tiny bit of time. I mean, collaborating and networking, that's really important. Follow other people you respect or thought leaders. Try to engage locally with user groups for technology people, things like that. And just kind of communicate with people and have conversations. And that'll spark something in your mind that you might want to post about or research further. Those are great ways. A lot of times that just leads to something, or it leads you to getting introduced to somebody new or something like that. Like for me, as a marketing person, I'm also a consumer of marketing. I love receiving other companies' marketing efforts, whether it be their emails for their marketing campaigns or their text messages for their text campaigns. Mail, I love getting mail, marketing mail, all the flyers, all those things, because I look at it and I try to determine what they're doing and if I would have done it differently or, why did I receive this? Why was I their audience for this, right? I mean, if you look at my email, especially my personal email where I sign a lot of them up, at any given moment, I could have 10,000 unread email messages because I'm subscribed to so many marketing campaigns and I love it. I love it. Somebody once looked at my phone and I think it was over 400 or 500 unread text messages.
Oh, the OCD in me would just erupt.
I know. Crazy. And they were like, why don't you read your text messages? I'm like, well, that's just a few days worth. I subscribe to a lot of marketing text campaigns and I know what they are. I see them come up. I just don't clear them because that would take all day. And I have all of my important people in my life. I get alerted immediately when those people text me. So none of those were important to my parents.
So you prioritize them. You set them up with different dings and jingles, etc. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and one of my favorite jokes I've ever made, I was looking in a meeting and she pulled up her calendar and I went, oh my goodness. And she's like, yeah, I've got a couple of meetings today. I'm like, a couple? It looks like you lost a game of Tetris.
I lose a lot of games of Tetris.
Her calendar is just nothing but blocks. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm missing a meeting to be here right now. So
and we appreciate that.
No problem. Happy to.
All right. So you shared some ideas as to someone could position themselves as a thought leader.
Yeah.
What are some practical tips to get started as a thought leader?
It sounds silly, but it's just do it. Just do it. People are afraid to do that first podcast episode. They're afraid to put a thought out there. I call it the FOMO or the FOFU, fear of messing up or fear of fudging up. That'll be polite. They're afraid of messing up, right? Am I going to mess up? Am I going to be put out on a rail by my peers? Is somebody going to be critical of me online? Are all those things going to happen? I say just ignore that and just go. Just do it. Start small. Just do one thing. Create one article. Publish it on LinkedIn. Publish it submit it to your corporation you work for to put on their website if they deem it appropriate. Do something small and just do one thing. Even if it's just going on LinkedIn and commenting on people's posts, reading an article and commenting back, liking things, sharing things. And then if you are going to create something, A good tip on that, if you're going to go and you say, I have this original idea about this topic, do your research. Don't shortcut it. Think back to college. Think when you were in college and you had to write a research paper, you knew somebody was going to be looking at it to see if you either plagiarized something or if you didn't look for all the viewpoints that matter. Go beyond page one of Google, like go deeper, find real studies, not just opinions, and be sure that you're thinking of all the angles of it, right? But after that, just share your unique insights. Even if you're nervous about taking the first step, even if you're afraid of blowback, that type of thing. But I think the thing that I am the most different on the advice people would give you is most people tell you to monitor your performance metrics. Like if you post something on LinkedIn, go back and find out how many people, how many impressions you got, how many people looked at it, how many people commented on it, how many people liked it. I'm going to take the unpopular stance not to do that, especially not at first. Just be true to yourself. Put out stuff that you believe, that you know is well researched, that you feel like is going to help your industry, and do not go back and get obsessed with the tracking of it. Those posts that I put out about that conference and the artwork around it, I was very pleased with those posts. I was very happy with them. I did not go back and check how they did at all. And for research for this thing, that was a couple years ago. For research about this, I did go back and look just to see. And they got like 360 impressions, a few comments and things like that, which isn't bad for me. I don't have a ton of people on there. But it was hardly storming the castle, those type of numbers. But it doesn't matter. I'm still like proud of it. And I still think that that was the right thing to do for that conference. And I'm still growing on doing that for the other things that I do, the in-person events I go to. And I'm still convinced that that's the right way to go about it. But it did show a little bit of success. If you look at how many people I'm friends with, that's actually, pretty good on there. But I just would not get caught up in the metrics to begin with.
Yeah, that's a very different opinion. You're right, because a lot of people would tell you right now to the minute you send something out, try to check back on it 2 minutes later and just check the engagement. And if you're just starting out, like you said, if you're just starting out, listen, yes, it's the thrill of the hunt, right? Because you're trying to get those engagement clicks, those likes, those comments, especially on LinkedIn where the algorithm is a little bit different. Settle down. Settle down.
Put up different pieces of content and see which one people reacted with the most, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, that's so far out of your control. You don't know how so many things can affect what people react with and how many people react with it and how many impressions they get that are out of your control, that I really would not use that to determine what you talk about. I mean, and those things change all the time. I recently had a really interesting conversation with some people who were telling me LinkedIn now punishes you if you like your own post. So that's a new thing, and I don't have any verification that that's true. But those type of things happen all the time. And so you don't know when algorithms change. You don't know when stuff like that happens. So it's really honestly better just try to be as genuine as you can. Put out stuff you're proud of, stuff that you believe in, and don't worry too much about the results. If it starts happening for you, it'll start happening.
All right. So before we go, what are some key takeaways you'd like for our audience to leave this episode with?
The thought leadership is important for your personal brand, for your career growth, for the company that you work for making sales for them. It can attract clients. It can differentiate your business and your service. It can differentiate you as a person, build authority. I would just consider it because I think that it's the new way to make a difference, right?
Mhm.
And that original value-driven content is the genuine content is the most important thing. It's really the backbone to just start small, start with whatever you feel comfortable doing, but just start. And then, try to be consistent with it and then collaborate with other people. If you meet like-minded people, go on their podcast. Ask them if you could go on it. Most podcast producers love when somebody asks if they can come on because they're searching for people to collaborate with.
That's true. Well, with that, some great tidbits, key takeaways from this episode. But Malinda, as always, it's great to have you with us on Ask Anything. Thanks so much for returning.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening in to this week's edition of Ask Anything presented by Moser Consulting. We hope you enjoyed listening to Malinda Lowder talk to us about thought leadership. Be sure to join us next time as we dive in deeper with our resident experts and explore what they're currently working on. Don't forget to share your ideas or topics with us through our social media. In the meantime, please remember to give us a rating and subscribe to our feed wherever you get your podcasts. Until then, so long, everybody.
Go.